interesting to see it in different variations. So it's also no problem to see the 60mm films on video.
Was it exciting for you to see all your films projected together? When was the last time you saw them in such a...
Never.
Premiere?
Yes. I saw some programs, but not so long programs. And this, I think, is really the most intense program I ever saw with my own films. And yeah, it's. I like to see my movies. I always see other things, and that's why, that's why I make films. It's not for me important to make films and to repeat always the same. For me, it's important to make a film you can watch twice or 10 times, and you always see other things. And yes, that's an idea of filmmaking.
So maybe that could be my first general question also for introductions. As you saw this body of work now together, and so one could see the different aesthetics, the different approaches. Also, there's always kind of certain artistic handwriting, so you recognize there are some links between certain films. But nevertheless, I wonder how you approach a new project, how you develop an idea. Do you test out something, or is it just like a sudden idea, or is it something which happened and then you create something out of it?
I have to work on pictures. I create from the picture the idea. So you saw that I use a lot of found footage pictures, material that is already shot, and I just have to take it. And often I have a big archive of old material, and I watch this archives without sound, because I don't need the original context. It's not necessary for me. I just watch the pictures and the movement of the pictures, and then I have maybe 2 scenes or something like this. I'm impressed and I really like, but I didn't know what's in it for me. And I have to do different tests with this material, and then sometimes there's a moment where I know, okay, exactly that's it, that's my scene, and then I can look for other pictures for the movie and compose it to the end. But I have always work with the pictures and give it back to the box and wait a year or something like this. And I always have 3 or 4 or more, not ideas, pictures in my head from which I can grow and create film.
And so does it make a difference then if it's a found footage material or if it's your own material?
For me,
there's a lot of photographs of your own. I mean, is it the same process that you have them in your archive, and
yes,
and one day you feel ready? Okay, now start.
I also use my own pictures like from footage. I shoot some material. I don't know exactly for what, and then I use it in the same way. I have these pictures in my mind, and then I have the idea to make it with this make something out of these pictures. And for me, it's no difference. It's just like putting the waste off the pictures. Because when I shoot my pictures by my own, I think the situation when I make the picture is a waste, kind of waste. A context, and this context I want to put away from the picture, that I find another meaning, maybe
like the soul of the image.
Yes, and it's also the same with the found footage pictures. I don't need the original context, and I have this. I always work with really small pieces. the longest piece is at La Sortie, I think, is not seen with 11 seconds. That's the longest piece, and they made a film in the length of 16 minutes.
When you see all these titles also in the films, you see that there's a lot of reference to the technology of cinema. So you have exposed or real time or mirror mechanics, but then the films itself they develop this very strong, unique poetic language. So I always wonder, especially when you see them together, I was wondering how important this reference to the technology of cinema is for your work in the end.
Not really for the technology, but for the system of cinema. I always refer on the system of cinema, and I think maybe the universe is the greatest cinema, because you also see it in some films when the sun is coming in real time. It's the time the sun needs for his way. The sun needs don't make a way, the earth makes its way, and it's like
like a pen.
Like a pen, yes. And so it's important for me that I have this to think about the cinema like a reduced world. They have these special settings, and in these settings I can manipulate the world, control the world, and think about the world. Also the metaphysical things or the psychological things happen in the cinema. When you're in the cinema, some psychological effects are necessary. Like in mirror mechanics, you have to go into the movie with, in the process of identification with the protagonist, yeah. Or also with the position of the camera. Then you dive into a film, and that's a process happening in the cinema. And it's a process also is necessary for life, because you have, when you talk with other people, you have to feel sympathy, or it's a process also is necessary for life. So I think this, for me, the cinema is a machine, like a reduced world. And I can put the things happening outside the world in this setting, and distillate special things out of the world. Make a concentrated schnapps. Sometimes I say make schnapps.
A distillate.
A distillate, essence from a film. So I also can't make long films. It doesn't work for me.
But this won't work like a long film. So
That's
really these effects that things are connected to you. Often in the films, you get into kind of a dreamlike mood. So like the images that bring you in a certain flow, or they lift you up somehow. This is one of these ideas that cinema is also kind of a dream machine. And you said it's an explanation of the world.
Yeah.
So cinema is kind of a model of the world, but on the other hand, it's also you talked about psychology just in.
It's also a physical effect. I think when the eyes are so you have these intense impulses. It's a physical effect that you go in a complete other situation in your head, and that's important for me, because I don't want to make intellectual films. I have a concept behind my films, and you can also think about this film in an intellectual way. But the first idea is to make a movie that you just watch, and you don't have to think what happens now. And after, I hope it's so expressive that you think, oh, what happens now? So I think I always work that that I get this effect that you just have to look. And it's not easy because we have so many conventions. And when you look my films, you have to don't think about the convention. Forget everything what you know about film. Then watch it, and then you can think about film again. Because I don't use narrative forms or mainstream effects or something like this.
But it's interesting that I think sometimes, nevertheless, kind of narratives kind of grow out of the films, and maybe that's something that has to do maybe also with the sound and the music.
Yes.
So
and with structure. Often work in a really structural way and try to create a dynamic form, dynamic rhythms. And I think this also makes a kind of narration, but it's just a dynamic, and it's a special possibility in cinema. In no other medium you have this possibility to make this dynamic. Music may also have this. Music was the first thing that has in its on its principle the dynamic, and then the film captured this idea. You know, this the 1920 the abstract films. They had this idea to make visual music.
But do you also follow musical concepts then when you edit your films, or is it just like a feeling of a certain rhythm, or is it really kind of, I don't know, it's just
I write down frame plans. I think my code frame plans. I have an exact plan where I have each frame is noted on a paper, or I have a system on a computer that I can write. It's like a composition, yes. But it's not. That's not true. That it's a composition, because when you play music, you have this moment of interpretation. When I make my notation, it's not an interpretation. It's just another visual form for a dynamic. You know what I mean? You have in cinema. You don't have this interpretation. The machine interprets this notation, and the machine makes the rhythm and give the dynamic to the pictures. You don't have other things. It's a difference between music and this notation.
Whenever someone feels to add some questions, please feel free.
Yeah, I just want to ask if when you're dealing with analog material, do you always digitize it when you edit it, or?
My first films are really analog films. I made them on the table, on the editing table, 60mm editing table. Also the sound cutting on the editing table, really analog way. And shoot it with Bolex stop motion effect, single frame work. And now I always need this analog part in my films. Now I work digital and try always to have an analog part. I always want to have a situation where I can touch the picture. So when I make the photos, I have analog prints, and I can, at the last film, I have these pictures and physically process of burning. And it's the same in ground control. It looks really digital or electronically with this snow from the analog monitor. But the insects are, I glued them really on paper. Yes, I did it.
No animal was harmed in this.
Yes. No, it's not really true, but yes, and I have this analog element, and I have this. I need this process, and also I work with photocopies because you can with chemically you can destroy photocopies, or you can copy it again on another paper, also on celluloid you can copy it with nitro, and some effects. I always need this process to get in touch with the picture, because that's the chance for the filmmaker. The audience don't have this chance to get too close to the picture. They always need the distance to the picture because the voyeuristic effect needs this distance. And as filmmaker, I can go too close to the pictures, maybe. But it's also, I think, it's not fetish. It's more love than fetish. It's not to replace something. It's really to get that what I want. It's not Platzhalter. Yeah.
Any other question? So otherwise, maybe then I continue on this point, because nowadays we are facing like the disappearance of the analog material in cinema in general, but, maybe also in the arts. So what effect might that bring to your work?
It makes me a little bit sad because, of course, I love the analog film and the material and the original cinema. Yeah, but also it's another thing because it remembers me to my own to my own that I
fading ways.
Yeah, that I have to die.
Sometimes. Yeah.
It remembers me that I have to die. I can nothing. It's no media is possible to capture anything. Film was developed, I think, out of this idea to capture a special moment for a long time, for longer than for a long time, for eternity, or to repeat this moment again and again, to have it and to remember it. And I think this doesn't work, and we see this in the digital cinema more and more. It's just a moment that you see the thing and then it's gone. You never, you have these things 10 years or no longer, then it's away. It's a quality of the medium, and I can make ideas out of this situation. You saw the last film. It's the idea that you can't capture any nice moment. Yeah, it's because these pictures are shot on holidays in Hollywood, and I made photos like a real amateur. So it's just a nice beach and the sun, and I make these photos, and I will capture this moment, but I cannot capture this moment. Anyway, it's just a reproduction, and that's a good thing. When you go to the cinema, it's not the moment that you had years ago. You always have a new moment in a cinema, and I think that's much better, and it doesn't make me sad when I think so. So in exterior extended, you see one film twice, and it's the same film. Just in the middle is this birth situation. You see the film, then there's the birth, and you see it in a new way, the same film again. And I think this is another idea of cinema, and this idea is based more in the digital media.
also about the question of repetition then, because I think that's something which also appears again and again in your films.
Yeah.
This idea of a repetition. When you have a velocity, you have the movement repeating.
Yeah.
Always with a slight speeding up, but it's never guess.
It's always this, yeah.
Movement, and you have the repetition extended, and you feel it also in other movies like Shared Album or.
It's also the same. You see the same movie in the split screen, just 1 second different and 1 second different, but it's the same film. You see it twice, and always yes, that's it. Because I saw it before. That's the thing about, or that's a possibility of film. Repeat the things, but I always try to see it in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also no problem for me to use old pictures. The pictures are sometimes from the 50s or now older, 50s, 60s. And it's no problem for me because it's just, I think it's just possible to see it new, in a new way. And therefore I also use analog techniques and more digital techniques.
Please. Maybe we just briefly mention the sound as an important part of your work, especially in the idea of creating something like a narrative, even if it's very abstract, films in a certain sense. And I think nearly all, or let's say 80% of those films, you collaborate with Jürgen Gruber, so he's the one who's delivering the sound. Can you talk about a little bit of this collaboration, because it seems to me very specific, because the sound is always a very strong element in your films.
Yes, I think for me it's important that the sound is always not only loud but really impressive, because the sound can make the pictures physical. And that's important for me. Also, when you have digital material, you don't have any physical thing during the work. And also in the cinema, nothing will stand on the screen. All things disappears. And so for me, it's important to have the sound that fills the whole room and that makes a physical element in the cinema. And the collaboration with Jürgen works very good because he's a really old friend. We was together at the primary school and 1 year at the kindergarten. And so we know each other very well. And it's not his profession to make sound. He just make sound for my movies. Okay. And he's a graphic designer. His profession, but he always knows exactly what I want to have, because we have this long relationship. I think. This.
But then you talk about a certain mood you like to create. For example, when I think about real time, when you have the sun rising, and of course the music gives an idea of Kubrick.
Yeah.
So is it something that you kind of you say to Jürgen, I want something like Kubrick did in the beginning of his.
Especially at real time, I didn't say anything to him.
Mm-hmm. You just gave him.
I gave him and so I need a sound,
mm-hmm.
and he says, "Yes, I have the right one for you." It really worked. Mm-hmm. And there's a longer version of this of real time, the director's cut version, that the sound comes back again on the upper part, and yes, that was then too long, and Jürgen gave me the idea that I should make it shorter. So he also sometimes gave me inputs to have variations on the picture. So
But it's not like that you sometimes already have parts of the sound and edit along the sound?
Also.
Ah, okay.
Also, yeah, he gave me, sometimes he gave me a sample and says that's, you can use it for what you need. And, and then I have the freedom to destroy it, cut it in pieces, and he says, okay, it's your choice. And yes, sometimes it works in this way, and mostly it works that I gave him the cutted movie or the raw. And he makes the sound, and then we discuss what he will make, and if I should change the picture. But no, it's really uncomplicated, this process. On Heavy Eyes was a little bit more complicated because Jürgen had a problem with his head at this time. So he couldn't watch the pictures for a long time. But it was not, it was just a physical problem.
I don't know if you're still in time. Is there anyone who?
Yes, okay. But there is still.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we can just maybe you tell us about. Is there a new project? I guess there's something in the box or in the archive which is waiting for you. But is there something already in kind of development?
Yeah, develop now. In concrete, I will start in September to work on it. But now I have the concept and the picture. It's just one picture. This is the concept of the new film, to make a film out of a single frame, because film normally is just a composition of single frames. So I thought, okay, then go back to the minimum of elements. And I found a really old photograph, 100 years, a little bit more than 100 years old. It was shot at the time where film was developed, so it's really in between this time from the stills or from the photograph picture from the frozen pictures to the moving pictures, and I try to make a structural composition and try to scan and rephotograph and refilm this one image with different cameras, low-tech cameras, low-tech scanners, so that I have a lot of material, and then I make with these different styles the structural composition. So I try to bring out the signs of time. Also, you have the scratches and dust on the photo, and I think these are the signs of the time, and also maybe the digital structure is a sign of the time. And I will bring these signs of time together and have the frozen time in it, and I have the running time. In cinema, time is always running. In the world, time is always running. And so I think this is the main concept of the new project.
And as time is running, and the next program coming up soon, I guess. Or we'd like to have a coffee in between, and I think Siegfried is still around if any later questions come. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for your films, and thanks for your
Thank you for coming. Really nice.